One thing that I knew about Ben was he was going to go far in whatever he was going to do.
Ben's always a guy that's remembered his roots, you know. He understands the game.
There is envy there, without a doubt. A lot of people said, how's this guy got in such a position? Who is he? Who is he?
My parents split up when I was young, and so I spent a lot of time with my mum, and she'd work full-time. Belfast girl from Ireland. She'd come over here, met my dad. Seeing her work ethic, it was that was instilled in me from an early age. So my granddad, who was from Belfast, and he had this wine cellar, and it wasn't much, but he'd done it himself. He had an off licence, and he grew up in the Troubles, and he went through it all, and he'd come out and he had this wine shop, and I used to go there in my holidays, and I'd just think, wow, like, it wasn't about the money. It was never about the money. It was just about the fact that he'd hustled from nothing, and it was his. That was inspiring for me, and that was, I think, what I became obsessed with.
When you first came on the scene, I thought, he's going to have the baptism of fire. You know, they'll put his head down the toilet a few times. And it seems like he don't take it personal.
I think you've got to have a thick skin to be in boxing anyway, and luckily those early years, which were the real hard years, people think this was overnight. I was working boxing 5 years under the radar. There was one time I remember, I think I was a year in or 18 months in, and I went to buy a coffee, it wouldn't clear. And I called my girlfriend and she sent me whatever, £10 or £20, and I was like, I can't be in this position again. But it was still another 3 years until anything happened.
So Ben, where are we?
We are in the Fight Factory, which was one of the first gyms I ever came in. When I was first in and around the Manchester scene, doing shows and getting to know the fighters, this is where I was.
Yeah, but most fighters walk in a gym and they think, I want to hit a bag, I want to do this. You walked in a gym thinking, I want to help these guys, I want to put shows on.
It wasn't just, I wanted to be involved in the sport. Yeah. That's what it was, I loved it. And I knew I was never going to be a fighter, so that was it.
Good vision. Let's have a look, see what's going on. It must be a cool link to know somebody like Ben for a boxing club, of course.
Everybody knows him from grassroots, you know. He's done the proper route where he's coming through the grassroots. He's helped a lot of boxers. I mean, we've had one of my guys that won the WBO European title, Stephen Daniel. If it wasn't for Ben, he wouldn't have been with us.
This place is steeped in boxing history.
Yeah.
So to have that connection,
Definitely.
you just think it's like Christmas.
Yes.
The problem is the TV station promoters, they're all London-based, aren't they?
They used to say back in the day, if you want to succeed in boxing, you've got to go to London. That's what they used to say, didn't they? Is it sweeter doing it at home in Manchester, or you like travelling up and down the country?
No, Manchester's the best. It always is, because the crowd's the best.
What about Sheffield? What are you talking about?
I've still not done a show in Sheffield, actually, but Manchester's the best because the crowd always come out.
I'm a Sheffield lad, and we love our sport, we love our boxing, but you know when you come to a fight in Manchester, it's a completely different level. Is that something that keeps you grounded here?
I think whether it's sport, whether it's music, in Manchester there's no bull. Everyone understands each other, people are friendly. I just love it. I think it's the best city in the world.
This is where it all began.
Anyone that knows boxing in Manchester knows bowlers. This is where all the small hall shows are. I remember just being through there, like counting out wristbands, counting out cash. It was proper small hall boxing, but we tried to put on a show, and that's where it all came from, the big lights. It was an entertainment show.
So when the shows were on, would you actually come inside and sit down, or would you?
No. I was running around making sure things were happening, making sure the show was going on. I always say as well, it's a brutal sport in the ring, but it's brutal outside of the ring as well.
What was the biggest show you did in here?
Sam Hyde against Blaze Mendu, right? I'll always remember it.
Good fight?
Great fight.
One thing that I knew about Ben was he was going to go far in whatever he was going to do. One time we were out and he said to me, I'm going to get Sky Sports. And at that time, it was honestly stupid to say that comment. It was so far off, but that's his brain. That's how he thinks. If he looks at doing something, it's like times 10. When I was working with him, he didn't want to be a brand. If he could do this without being famous, he would do it.
Tell me about your first fight night.
The first one I did by myself was crazy in the sense that I was going to do it at the warehouse in Trafford, and suddenly I found out the Manchester Arena was available, so I gave them a call.
Your first show?
My first, so I helped out on loads of other shows, the first show that I promoted, yeah. And
that's bottle, man.
I know, and it was like, people were like, are you crazy? But again, I just didn't see it. It was just chaos. I was attracted to the chaos. I like the pressure, I like the stress, I like getting involved, and if there's any setback, I just see it as a positive, like a fighter. I was stood there at Carnbrook. Noel Gallagher's on my left and Jamie Carragher's on my right. And
was it a proud moment?
It was the first time, I think, where I was like, we're on track here.
I've been to a lot of big fights. I think Carnbrook, the vibe was mad, the setup was ridiculous. And then you've got to think to yourself, I did that.
As you say, that was a massive event for us, and one we'll remember as our first box office. When everyone comes to our shows, whether it's the tournaments or this, our main focus is that it leaves you feeling good.
What is your vision? What is your aim? What are you looking for?
I'd like to just make the sport a better place. That was the focus, is like, how can we make it where broadcasters, sponsors, fans are actually proud to be involved in the sport? It's a sport with no language barrier. For me, it's the most beautiful sport in the world. I love it. And I just want it to be on the biggest platform possible. So I can't see myself ever thinking enough is enough.